Can you put your hand up if you are excited about the possibility of AI transforming education forever? We got a lot of hands, unbelievable. You can put them down. Can you put your hands up if you're excited about MOOCs? I see no hands. Okay, I got a couple hands. Amazing. Cool. Like some of you, I am quite skeptical of AI's potential to transform education. 10 years ago, we thought MOOCs were going to change everything in education. And here we are today at the Graduate School of Business in a lot of in-person classes. I'm Doug Phipps. I'm president of the Stanford Education Club. I'm a dual degree student, as mentioned, in the Schools of Business and Education. Thank you so much. I am a former educator working to close opportunity gaps in education. Let me tell you why I was a little skeptical that AI would change everything. When I was a teacher, I had a student named Shakira who had straight A's, and one day, her senior year, I saw her slumped on the hallway floor. She was skipping math class. I asked her why. She said that her teacher had quit, so her substitute had assigned a Khan Academy module, and then sat at her desk and played on her phone for the rest of class. Shakira said, "My teacher clearly does not care about this class. Why should I care?" To be clear, I have nothing against Khan Academy or any other ed tech product or AI product, but this was a clear paradigm shift for me that ed tech products alone and AI alone cannot transform student engagement. So what can and what could? I was a theater teacher, and I distinctly remember a student named Micaiah that I had who was 16 years old. She showed up on the first day of her sophomore year to my theater class. Students were standing in a circle in a really dimly lit, kind of weird room, saying bippity bippity bop as quickly as possible, kind of like that. Super, super weird. And Micaiah raised her hand. She said, "Mr. Phipps, I have a lot of social anxiety, and this is not helping. Can I step into the hallway?" I said, "Sure, Micaiah, you can step into the hallway." Over the next month, we slowly got her in the room, one step at a time, staying in that safe zone, but nudging her out of her comfort zone. And after a month, you could see the smile begin to show on her face. She auditioned for West Side Story a couple months later. She was a shark girl. Her GPA jumped a point. Her attendance went from spotty to spotless. And her anxiety that she had so much of on day one had all but vanished. I was feeling awesome. I was like, man, I did such a good job with Micaiah. Like, I'm such a boss teacher. This is awesome. And then I thought to ask Micaiah, like, what actually changed? Because this was such a remarkable transformation. She said, "Oh, my friend Tyler was texting me every day and telling me, you got to participate in class. I promise you it's going to be so fun. You got to come out, audition for the musical. It's going to be awesome. It's going to change your life." And she listened to him, probably more than she listened to me. So I had these two working hypotheses in my head. One, that theater and arts education could transform lives, and two, that peer leadership and mentorship could transform lives. And then I had this other disconnect with, okay, but everyone's talking about AI and education and all of these other things. Why is there such a gulf in these things that I'm excited about and everybody else is excited about? And that disconnect is a large part of the reason why I came to GSB. And the CSI has been the predominant way that I have answered so many of those questions and tested out so many of my hypotheses. Thanks to so much impact coaching from Amanda Greco and Caleb Jonas, I applied for and won the Impact Design Immersion Fellowship, an 8-week entrepreneurial exploration that's funded by CSI and the GSB to explore a problem space at Stanford. And through that, we call it IDIF, all of the acronyms here. I'm sure you're all sick of them and remember them well. Through IDIF, I had the opportunity to test out some student-led theater hypotheses to create the same kind of programs that made Micaiah so much more comfortable in the world, but actually being taught by young people like Tyler. Me and my classmate Carolyn, also at the GSB, did this program together, and we called it Better Together. And this is just a little picture of our pilot that we worked this summer at a Title I middle school in Washington, D.C. None of this would have been possible without CSI. This is not a program that is going to scale to 10 million kids in the next 5 years. It's not something that we don't use AI. Sometimes I use ChatGPT for personal purposes, but this is not an AI-driven, super, super scalable program, but it is a grassroots program that will transform lives at a smaller scale. In one of my favorite classes at the GSB, Gloria Lee's Transforming Education Through Entrepreneurship, we talk a lot about the impact triangle: scale, efficacy, and sustainability. that there's tensions and trade-offs between all of these three things, and that I'm sure all of you have experienced the tensions and trade-offs in whatever impact venture that you work within. And I think my key takeaway from this is that without the key efficacy measures at the bottom, none of it really matters. And so often the grassroots solutions might not scale, might not be as sustainable in the long run if you 10x, 100x, 1000x it out, but the efficacy is unmatched. And so Matt opened by asking what one wish you all have for what the people in this room think about for impact over the next X amount of years. My wish for you is that the next time that we think about the sexy AI scalable solution in education, that you walk around the corner to the nearest school, to wherever your child goes to school, and see some of the outstanding community programs that are already happening there, and think about how we can scale and ratchet those programs up just a little bit more, instead of jumping to the most outlandish, we're gonna like AI this thing to 1 million young people in 2 years solution. This is the Better Together website. This is my email if you want to learn more, if you want to reach out to me later. And thank you so much for having the opportunity to speak today.